Despite the explanation given by the Nigerian Navy for establishment of a naval base in landlocked Kano State, northwest Nigeria, many are not convinced that the reason is good enough. According to the Navy, the movement of the base was designed to decongest its presence in Lagos area and to expand to other locations other than the coastal cities. The Navy said its board recently approved the establishment of 3 new naval bases in Lekki, Oguta, and Kano. But of the 3 new locations, it is the Kano naval base that has elicited the most reactions. The Navy noted that the base in Kano will host the newly created Nigerian Navy Logistics College. Yet, many are wondering why a naval logistics college dealing with maritime activities and security has to be located in a landlocked state. They have also pointed to the enormous resources that will have to be expended, shuttling naval officers and men between Kano and the coastal cities on logistics training. Now joining us from Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, to give us his views on the establishment of a Naval Logistics College in Kano, as well as other issues critical to the oil-bearing Niger Delta communities, is Professor Benjamin Okaba. Professor Okaba is a professor of sociology and president of the Ijaw National Congress. Good morning, Professor, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Professor Okaba. Many Nigerians have expressed concern that a naval base will be established close to the desert in Kano. Do you have any issues with that, or you are satisfied with the explanation by the Nigerian Navy that this is a stone frigate and that it's in line with standard practice in other parts of the world, and that Nigerians need not worry about a naval logistics base being sited in the north?
Okay, thank you very much. I intend to go elementary so that we don't use technicalities to confuse people. Yeah, when you talk about the Navy, it's part of the security architecture. And there are 4 major divisions. Enemies, to tackle enemies by land, and you have the Army. By air, you have the Air Force. By sea, you have the Navy. And so we expected that going by that elementary definition of the operational dynamics of these different forces, the Navy should be located in places that is purely maritime. So I join many Nigerians in condemning that, because I see that again as a misapplication of power. It's again showing that whoever that is given an appointment tries to play down on national interests and looks at parochial local interests. It's become more funny when we got to know that the Chief of Naval Staff is from Kano. Maybe that he felt that is a special gift to his people. So talking about cost on investment, what do they, so much resources will go into that. So much resources will go into getting the project. So much resources will go into getting people from other places. So if they truly want to diversify, send to other places, the Sahel Desert is the wrongest place to send a Navy base. So for us, it's characteristics of a nation that cares less about national interest and promote parochial interests and make him seem as if it serves national interest. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Professor, for trying to idiot-proof this issue. That was a really valiant attempt. But my question is this. There's some who will say that Kano State has 2 rivers, and that is why it's appropriate to move a naval base there. What would your response be to that?
Niger River in particular.
Now, we are aware of the geography of Nigeria. We know the 2 rivers you're talking about. And those persons who make such advocacy, have they found out what kind of activities go on in that place? What kind of vessels can move in that place? And what is the connectivity between that and the other rivers? Patrolling water, if it is for security, internal security is the business of the police. And I know there's a marine police department that is given the responsibility of monitoring security issues and all that. So say because you have 2 rivers, you have to cite them, and then you have to cite naval bases on all the rivers in this country. So it does not in any way explain any situation. In fact, the fact is that, let us just take it. The man is from Kano, and he feels that, well, my people have been given a federal appointment, so let me showcase that this is your gift from the national cake. That is how ridiculous governance has been reduced to in this country. Thank you.
One other argument they put forward for this was because of insurgency and the bandits around Lake Chad area and the body of water there and the forest reserves there. And they said, oh, okay, maybe a naval base would do some work. But the counter argument is, yeah, if it's to fight bandits, wouldn't be Sambisa Forest be a best place to site a naval camp? And is there not a 3rd Marine Commando?
In fact.
Is there not a 3rd Marine Command there, you know, in there, that came from the Civil War, that is an amphibious division out of, you know, Jos, that can do that same work? That's what a lot of people are looking at.
No, you have answered the question. Banditry is visible in terms of location. We know the trouble spots, and truly the Sambisa Forest is the best one. And all along, right from I think about 5, 6 years, 7 years ago, when this story of banditry and all that, they've always been operating on land. We've never had bandits carrying speedboats to be pursuing people and all this. Never, not one example of bandits using speedboats. So take them to Sambisa Forest, put the naval base in Sambisa Forest, if possible, so that you can hand other forest. In fact, for me, it is another way of putting the Nigerian image in bad light, that policies are made without considering national interest. It's as simple as that.
Well, the point you made about national interest.
There can't be any just, yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. How is this linked to the national interest, the fear of domination, inequitable distribution of resources, federalism,
yes,
federal character?
Yes.
And then just to add that one of the arguments that has been put up is that, look, in some other countries of the world, take, for example, the United States. We're told the U.S. has 75 naval bases, but not all of them are in the maritime precincts. They have a naval base in Mississippi. They have a naval base in Chicago, in landlocked areas, generally, out of the 75. Some of them on air defense, some of them on logistics, just as we have it in Nigeria. So, I mean, why should it be a major issue in Nigeria that we have a naval base somewhere in the north?
Yeah, ordinarily, we even have in African countries that are landlocked, that have naval bases or naval presence in those countries. We do have. But this is a corollary to the kind of injustice and unfairness as they have displayed in this country. So when you had 1-to-1, it becomes 2 and begins to give send some signals. Now we talk about injustice. You talk about federal character. Okay, you are talking about a country, for instance, where all the security chiefs are from one ethnic and religious base. You talk about a country where major institutions are just lopsided in a particular place. So have we sufficiently spread out the naval bases to areas that need them, the areas where the nation will have good returns on investment? If we have exhausted that, then we can talk about this. Okay, look at what is the original colonial national bases that were created in Sapele, in Warri, in Port Harcourt. What is their state? Rather than go establishing new ones, these are hailing national. Why not resuscitate them? Why not bring them to terms? What are we trying to talk about? So when you have optimized the usage of these other resources, you cannot think of expansion. As we speak, these other ports or naval bases are acting or functioning beyond capacity. So the first thing to do is to bring them up, and thereafter, if there's a need for expansion, they will not talk about expansion.
Well, the perception of unfairness and injustice seems to be a recurring theme. I want to draw your attention to a letter from the Niger Delta Justice Forum, an open letter written to the Attorney General of the Federation, dated September 6, 2021, in relation to that vaunted NDDC audit report that was finally presented by the Minister of the Niger Delta, Senator Okaba, to the Attorney General. And now this group is describing that forensic report as shambolic and a scrappy exercise cleverly devised to deflate and buy time to continue to maintain absolute control over the finances of the NDDC. What is your perspective of the NDDC audit report and of those voices like I've just read to you in opposition to it?
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We will continue to say that we are not satisfied. We have said so earlier when even the report was, the forensic audit was ongoing. We said it was not any reason at all to stop the inauguration or to prevent the inauguration of a substantive board. We said that earlier. And luckily enough, on the 2nd of September, the report was submitted, and the president had promised, Okaba also promised earlier, that by end of July, the report will be submitted and a substantive board will be in place. So further delays is unacceptable. Then beyond that, where is the report? We are not, you cannot scam us with figures. Like particularly when we place these figures pari passu, or official documents that have been released in the same board by external editors to the NDDC. Right? Okay, you talk about the monies released to the NDDC so far as 6 trillion. We have figures, official figures for external reports for NDDC, say that these figures are as low as 3 trillion, sorry. Then why is the report silent on the amount owed by the federal government to the NDDC? Over 1.3 billion naira not paid to the NDDC, owed to the NDDC. What about the over 4 trillion naira owed by the IOCs to the NDDC? So if we're talking about corruption, yes. What about the question of underfunding or not sending funding as appropriate? We know at the time, the 2020 budget of the NDDC was passed in December, when the NDDC has already spent over 200 and something million naira. Right? Now, the budget passed was about 400. So what happens to the balance? What happens, why is the report silent about the emergency contracts that has got over 600 million naira? What is the report saying about the over 1,000 persons that were employed in the NDDC within 6 months without due process? We want to see the report. Let Mr. President place the report in public domain, because we consider it a sham. In fact, when you say over 13,000 projects were abandoned, who are the contractors? Let them, we want to know their names. We want to know these people. Some of them are jostling for other positions. So let us know. Why is the secrecy about the report? Let it not be another way of delaying the constitution of the board. Another way of delaying the constitution and going underground to spend so much money and turning the NDDC into a personal estate of one individual. That is unacceptable.
Okay, so there's a story in the Daily Trust newspaper and this is we're just trying to make balanced argument now. And I'm going back to the naval issue and citing the naval base in Kano. There's a story in the Daily Trust that says 2 years after commissioning, Barrow Port remains desolate. So that's the port in Niger State, a port in the north that a lot of people thought was going to open that area up. You know, so if Barrow Port can remain desolate 2 years after commissioning, then, and we're talking about a naval base, okay, yeah, albeit logistical naval base and the likes, then is this not a signal on the viability?
It is, in fact, no, Nigerians are just wasting time trying to rationalize this. It is clear rent seeking. It is clear clearly another means of diverting enormous funds. It is another way of taking funds in one name. It is not viable. Where is the river? Are you going to transport the ships on camel? Because those are places, the Sahel area is a place where camels are known, donkeys and camels walk. Are you going to put ships on back of camels? Are you going to put on rails? It is not something we should talk about. The government in power should just discontinue with that project. It makes no sense. It is a ridicule to our country.
Well, I mean, it looks like we're already confronted with a fait accompli. The Kano State government has allocated land. A commander of that naval base has been appointed. The chief of naval staff had also visited Kano State. So when you say they should discontinue, well, are you saying that they should just disband, that naval base, give back the land to the Kano State government, and redeploy the commander of the naval base that has already been appointed? But the other question I wanted to ask you is about 2023. Now, what is the position of the Nigerian National Congress on the zoning of the presidency? I guess by now, with all the debate going on, the Nigerian National Congress, of which you are president, will probably have taken a position about whether it should go to the north or come to the south. And if you take a position one way or the other, what's the justification for your position?
Well, the Nigerian National Congress has not taken a position because we have critical issues that we think must be settled before 2023. Issues of resource control, issues of restructuring are very cardinal. And during our visit to Mr. President, we said our commitment to the Nigerian nation is dependent on addressing the issues of resource control. Because the issues of injustices and all that are just too many. We listed about 10 items, and we are waiting patiently for those items to be addressed. We are not interested in a Nigerian project in 2023. These issues must be addressed before we even begin to think about it.
Yeah, the future of the naval base. I wanted your further comments on that.
Yeah, like I said, why they hurry? You know, when Nigerians are perpetuating evil, you see them in a hurry. In a hurry, yes. The passage of the information bill took several years. But the other bills took few months. Is to tell you where government is interested in perpetuating evil. They are so fast about it. 100, so much land allocated to the Niger base. How much of land has he allocated to the university there? We still insist that that is a waste, that is mischief in itself. So let that land, if it's public land, be returned to the public. Let that man be sent back to his base. He has no business in any place. In fact, I thought he would have allocated a water space, not land. Thank you.
We do go from the sublime to the ridiculous in this country. 1 minute we're talking about the Deep Blue project, next minute Naval Base in Kano. Anyway, I want to talk to you generally about issues facing the Niger Delta. What in your mind today is the largest issue, the most pressing concern of the Niger Delta?
Yeah, the most pressing concern is the level of injustice, particularly resource injustice. We are still pained by the passage of the PIA. In its form, 3% is evil, 3% is unacceptable. Yes, for those who are rejoicing that they've won, we want to tell this country, and as many that care, that you've just won the battle. You've not won the war. We shall continue to say 3% is evil. It is unacceptable to the people of the Niger Delta. It's acceptable to the job people. So that is one. Then we are also pressing on restructuring because it's where we are fed up with the level of ill treatment we have received in a country that we bear the burden of sustenance. You cannot declare Bayelsa State, for instance, as bankrupt along 7 other states in the north. When Bayelsa is part of the states, among the few states that contribute maximally to the survival of this nation. In fact, declaring Bayelsa State as bankrupt is to say clearly that you have taken everything from the people and taking them upstairs. And the persons that are bearing the brunt and even providing a supply in terms of economy is declared bankrupt. That is a question that must be answered. Now, we are happy with the issues of the VAT. That is economic restructuring. In fact, we are calling on the governors of the South to go ahead and pass bill on ensuring that VATs are controlled. They are controlled by their states. It is their right. The federal government cannot begin to reap from everywhere. That is why we have been talking about the issues of resource control. That is one component of it. And we are happy with the developments in Lagos and Rivers State. We continue to support them. And we are assuring Nigerians that restructuring, we are gaining restructuring little by little, and we shall come there. Where every part of this country will know that we have enormous resources, and if given the opportunity to tap them, yes, every state has a comparative advantage to pull off. Then, as we speak, we know that the gold in Zamfara and other solid minerals in the northern part are quietly being exported to Dubai, and people are just making money. So why not talk about 3% on those resources? Why not talk about frontier, 30% frontiers in other places to also exploit gold? This is injustice, naked injustice that we not accept. The Niger Delta region, as we speak, is silent, but our silence should not be taken for granted. Thank you.
Okay. I want to ask you, what's your take on the Ogoni cleanup? Because some people say that's the way they're giving justice back to the region. Is that been the case? Really? And I also want to ask you, what's your take on the soot epidemic in Port Harcourt? We don't talk about it enough. Soot, the problem of soot in Port Harcourt and the Ogoni cleanup.
Yeah, the Ogoni cleanup, in the first place, let's just say, at least out of the issues of environmental degradation, we've talked about remediation for a long time, and we are happy that the international community is responding to the cries of the people. Yes, the progress made so far, well, in terms of speed, we say, well, not as expected, but at least little progress is made. We are saying that Ogoni is just one area. That project should be repeated in every state in the Niger Delta. In fact, the Ijaw land is even more degraded than the Ogonis. So when we visited Mr. President, I will mention it, and he promised that there was going to be an expansion. 2 months after, we have not seen anything about that. Then talking about the
soot in Port Harcourt.
The soot in the rivers, yeah, in Port Harcourt, yes. That is what we are seeing. The numerous environmental degradation or by health hazards experienced by the people are not seen. There's high level of cancer, there's high level of heart attacks, there's high level, the rivers are polluted, the air is polluted everywhere. The rivers, in fact, God just exposed that for the blind to see, that this is what we have suffered over the years. Through oil spill, through gas flare, through all the operations of the oil industries. The government should do something. We seem to be more interested in what we get and not we can take back. In fact, it is getting clearer that the value, the less the people of the Niger Delta, but the resources of the Niger Delta, which is unfortunate, which is very unfortunate. So we are crying on the federal government, as many persons that care to hear, that please, for that person or for that region that is feeding the country, make them comfortable. It's natural justice. We are not asking for too much. And that is why when in the midst of this cry, a 3% is given from NNPC profit to people who have suffered all this, and you are allocating 30% to go and explore vein lands, go into exploration that you are not even sure of, when the people who are already suffering of this thing and all this thing, I will know that 30% we are talking about will end up in the pockets of people. This is Nigeria that we're talking about.
Well, thank you very much, Prof. Professor Benjamin Okaba, for joining us, President of the Ijaw National Congress. Thank you very much indeed.